Hello and welcome to my first ever PS4 PSN review. I know I say that on like every first vid, but I figure it's a theme now, so I might as well keep doing it, even if it might annoy some people. Anyway, today I'm going to be taking a look at Putty Squad, which, oh boy, did I love Putty Squad back in the days of the SNES. It was one of my favourite System 3 games, and I was waiting for the re-release so long that I started to think it would never come out, so to find out it was going to launch with a PS4, I was over the moon. I saw the price, I was a little worried because £16 is quite a bit for a download, but those fears were crushed when I actually eventually played the game, and I'll get to that in a little bit. And the other thing I'll mention is there's going to be a season pass with a load of new levels that they've designed, and it's supposed to be free to people who bought from Game UK, and I've found nothing about that anywhere. I actually contacted the dev and they said that they put me on the list, so that's quite cool. It's just one of those things though that it's a little annoying that Game themselves seem to know nothing about it, because I even asked in store. Anyway though, at the start you've got the tutorial, which I'm not going to be going on. You've got Marathon, which is basically the main campaign of the game. You've got the challenges, which is where a lot of the main extras come in, and how the game's worth the £16 all of a sudden, because the game wasn't huge back in the SNES days. It's now huge. They've done so much to it. The sticker book is quite cool, and it's actually the second game this week that I've had a sticker book in, because Mario 3D World's got one, and I'll mention that when I do that review. Basically, the sticker book though, there's stickers that you find on each of the levels over each of the worlds, and it adds another amount of gameplay to it. It adds something else to collect, and it's something that it's not so mundane like, for example, a Lego game, which there's so much to collect on a Lego game that I honestly think, can I be bothered with this? Options wise, you've got screen size and settings, and there's very little to actually do on it. Screen size, to be fair, is the only one I think I'm going to have to do, because it's actually, there we go, it was a little cut off, and I'd never noticed that before until now. Trophies are explanatory, high score, load game and that, you know, but the weird thing is, I don't really understand why load game's there, because it's there for when you save in the game, but it makes you think like you have to load the game, if you know what I mean, whereas instead you can just jump into Marathon and go into a save file. So as you can see, I'm on an early file here, and it's just to show off some of the basic levels, because it gets hard. It gets very hard, and being able to talk, play, read, etc., it becomes a bit of a nightmare. So I've went onto the basic levels. Well, still probably get me butt kicked. Controls are pretty much faithful to the SNES. I mean, it used to be L and R to punch left and right, now it's L1 and R1. You've got L2, which goes into a map now, and you've got R2, which squishes you down to absorb, but it's pretty much automatic as well. You've got triangle, which allows you to inflate, and if you inflate too much you explode. You've got circle, which uses your items, so right there I just threw a nitro bomb because it's the only thing I've picked up. X is jump, and square allows you to walk weird. It's the type of thing that, as you can see, I can't climb upstairs unless I'm holding square, so I'd have to instead jump it, and to avoid that monotony, that just allowed you to hold square, and it allows you to go up, down. It's very nice, it works very well, and gameplay wise it plays so much like the SNES version, it's unbelievable, but everything's been refined, and it works better now. Even on the PlayStation Vita, when you're using remote play, it plays so well, it's unbelievable, and that was something I didn't really expect, because it's probably wrong of me to even have that bias, considering I absolutely adore indie devs, but I honestly thought it would only be the big games from the big name devs that would work well with the remote player, and instead System 3 have done a fantastic job with it. To be fair, I don't even know if it is them themselves, or if Sony have just managed to set up an infrastructure so good that anyone can do a massive job with it if they put a little bit of effort into it. Which is why I'm disappointed that FIFA plays so badly on remote play compared to this, or NAC, or Need for Speed, or things like that. Anyway then. It's a simple objective on every level. The whole point is you've got a star for killing the enemies, you've got a star for living without, so for example doing it without dying, which you have got a health meter in the top middle of the screen, and that basically comes into play whenever you get hit, or whenever you run into a spike or anything that's dangerous and that. And you can collect food, which you've already seen us do. You just absorb it into you, and it automatically refills your hearts and that. And the whole point of the actual level though is to save every one of the little red blobs, and they're basically MIAs, and whenever you collect them it says MIA OK. which, as far as I'm aware, is another addition to the PS4 version. It's something else they've added, because I can't remember the SNES version ever speaking to me. And you've got a time limit to do so, and you've got to find all of your little friends, then an exit appears somewhere on the stage, and you've got to get to that. Honestly, I used to be so addicted to the Super Putty games, well, Super Putty and Putty Squad, because they were just something I could actually play when I had a headache. And I've suffered from headaches all my life, and it's the sort of thing that I'd just be able to put this on and just sit back and enjoy it, and it was so much fun. And to this day, it's still got a load of stuff. I mean, it's essentially very similar to like when Earthworm Jim came out, because Earthworm Jim was obviously like a side-scrolling shooter, but it did a bit of everything. There was a racer in there, there was just all sorts in there, and this does the same, because there's so many different aspects to it, and it works amazingly well all the time. There's never really any problem with one aspect of it. It works, and it's why it's a shame that this has been able to release with very few people caring about it, because it does seem like it's a love letter to the fans, but they're also trying to get new fans, and I really hope they manage to do so, because it's a franchise that I have loved for so long that I'm glad that they've been able to make an amazing version of it again and improve upon the original, but I'm also glad that it's getting a second chance, and I'd love to see it get new fans, and then maybe after doing Putty Squad they could remake Super Putty, and maybe after doing that they could make an all new Putty game. But until then, I'll just have to be happy with when the Season Pass comes out with a load of new levels instead, and I must admit that is something I'm really looking forward to. As well as having a world system and that, it's also, as you can probably see, got secret level system, because I mean I've beat World 1 here and World 1-2 here, and then I jumped straight to World 1-4, because World 1-3 isn't there, and it's something that basically you have to find World 1-3, so it's again, it adds more gameplay to it, same as finding the stickers and same as beating every level with a 3-star rating, and it does work incredibly well as a platformer in this day and age. The system, it's something that as we've seen time and time before, and we'll see it time and time again, because it's pretty much tried, tested and known to work. The only other things I can mention about basic gameplay, you might have seen how my attacks got better as the level went on. It's not because I was particularly doing well, it was because I was collecting stars, because you've got 2 meters, you've got the meter on the left, which as you collect stars, that fills up and your attacks get far better. So you start with a punch, and then I believe you move up to an arrow, and then after the arrow, it's like a Tesla thumb almost, you shock them with it, and then it moves up to a putty bomb that runs in and destroys things, and it's very, very powerful. It's definitely the best one to use, at least for myself. I personally prefer it. And then on the right bar, you've got your inventory, and the inventory management is so much better on this version because you just use the right analog. You just flick up and down, and then obviously, as I've already said, you hit circle and it does things. So here I've used the fire chili, and the fire chili allows me to basically be invincible. It's like an invincibility star. I can just run through and kill everything until it runs out. And there's all sorts of different items. You've seen us use the bombs, you've seen us use the rocket ship, which I can fly around and drop bombs in as well, and it's just, it has got some very unique and inventive items that work really well. So it's one of those. My honest verdict is, if you are into old school platformers, then £16 may be a bit scary, but there is so much to this game, as well as everything I've mentioned there. There's what I'm going into now, the challenge mode. So for £16, it is huge, and it depends on how they're going to price the season pass, really, as to whether or not it's going to be worth it to some people. But if you are, as I say, an old school platformer, just a fan of them, then this is definitely something you're going to want to look into, because it's a brilliant game. It really is. It has been for, I don't even know when the original was released now. It's trying to remember. I think it might have been 94 that I played it. So I don't know if I played it late or if that's when it came out. It might be 94 when Super Putty. So for pretty much 20 years, it's been a very good and very overlooked game. And as I say, you've got all the content that I've mentioned there, and then the challenge mode. And as you can see here, I've got 4 unlocked, and the 4 that I've got unlocked have 7 things each. So this one, you've just got to play a level at the end. This one, you've got to collect every single star. This one, you've got to destroy all of the enemies. You've got to beat the certain time. You've got to complete the level without collecting food, without losing a life, and beat the high score. So that's another 7 playthroughs if you want it, if you're enjoying it, of each level once you unlock the challenges. and overall it's got a hefty amount of challenges and levels and worlds and that. So for £16 it is actually, when you think about it, a bargain price, considering the original didn't have any of this stuff. It just had the regular levels, and it released on a cart for probably about £50, because I think that's what cartridges used to be back in the day. So overall, as I say, I was a little worried when I saw the price, thinking, is it gonna be worth it? And by the end it was just like, yeah, actually that was well worth it. Bring on the season pass. Even if I have to end up paying for the season pass, I can see me doing so, because you just get so much content on the main game that I'd like to think the season pass is going to be the same. I mean, even if they don't double the levels or something, even if they just turn around and they charge a little bit and you get another 20 or 30 levels and another heap of challenges for those 20 or 30 levels, it's going to be well worth it. Musically and graphics are the only things that I've got left to mention, really. Graphically, it looks brilliant, especially if you're used to the SNES game, and musically, it sounds just as good as it always did. So there we go then. That's been the review. I hope you found it helpful. I don't score the games because that's based purely on opinion, so instead, I'll leave you to make your own mind up. So thanks for watching, and if you've got any questions about the game that I didn't answer in the vid, or that hasn't been answered in the comments, then feel free to ask and I'll help if I can. Also, if you did find it helpful, don't forget to check out my channel, because there's plenty more like this up there, and don't forget to subscribe because there'll be plenty more to come as well. So until next time, this has been Demon212, signing off.